took care of all of my master's family. Allow me to go back to my mother one time, Miss Harriet Bailey. Though she came to see me, she had to be back on that plantation before dawn. If not, she would be whipped. They say my father is no other than Captain Aaron Anthony. Captain Aaron Anthony, a white man. Even though it was said that I was his son, I still received the whippings of a slave sometimes from him. He had a daughter by the name of Lucretia R. And the funny thing about that, as I smile, is that Miss Lucretia did not know that I was her baby, her son. Not a son, but a brother. And I did not know that she was my big sister. And it's miraculous because of the fact that she would favor me, not knowing that I was her little brother. She would give me extra privileges, not knowing that I was her little brother. One day, after my master and my so-called dad passed away, they decided to move me. Now please understand, I'm 7 years old at this time, never took a bath before. The only bath that I took was in the local pond where the animals would bathe themselves, where the women would wash clothes. And yes, we were made to wash there. But this one particular day, Miss Lucretia says, Frederick, Frederick, come. And I ran to her. And she said, I need you to go to the big house. The big house? Yes. You're going to take a bath. A bath? She said, yes. Now I want you to go up to the second floor. I run up to the second floor and I run into the bathroom. What do I see? A tub. What was in that tub? Fresh, clean water. What did I do? You know, I disrobed and I jumped in that water. When I got in that water, next thing I know, I heard, Frederick, what are you doing up there? I was taking a bath. Well, you've been up there an hour and a half already. Get out that water. Yes, ma'am. Do I really have to? You better get out that water. So I get out that water. And to my amazement, there was awaiting me a brand new pair of pants. Awaiting me a nice shirt. Awaiting me a nice jacket. And please understand, I never wore shoes before. My feet were so cracked that you could put a pin in the midst of my feet. And when I slipped my feet in those shoes, you better believe they hurt. But guess what? I wasn't going to release the pressure, even if I had to walk like this, because I had me some new shoes. They loaded me up on the carriage. And the next thing I know, we had landed in Baltimore. Philstrott Street. And when I got off that carriage and I started walking towards the house, there were 3 people standing outside. There was the wife, the husband, and the little boy. As I approached them, quite naturally, back then, you better not look a white man or a white family or a white woman, even a white child, in their face. So as I approached like this. And when I got close enough, I could see the mother, her feet. And she said, Frederick, look at me, Frederick, look at me, welcome home. And I said to myself, this lady's crazy. She must want to kill me. I ain't going to look at her. And she said it again. I still didn't look. And then all of a sudden she took her hand and she put it up under my chin. And she began to lift my face up as such. But I came up with my eyes closed. And she was right here. And she said, Frederick, open your eyes, baby. So when I began to open up my eyes as such, I saw her big blue eyes and her big rosy cheeks and teeth that seemed like it went forever. And she says, welcome home. She moved. And Master Thomas R. came before me. And when he came before me, he said, Frederick, you're here to take care of little Tommy. You hear me? Whatever he wants, you make sure he gets it. Yes, Master, I make sure. And all of a sudden, little Tommy, with his little innocent self, he stepped before me with his hands out and he shook my hand. hand. He said, welcome home, Freddie. Well, just to move on, Tommy, and I hope somebody get this message. Tommy went to school. Tommy came home with books. When Tommy came home with books, he would take them upstairs. When he'd take them upstairs to his room and the family would disappear, I would go up in that room. And when I go up in that room, I would open those books and begin to try to read. Miss Sophia is her name. She had issues reading. So what she would do, she would get a newspaper, she would get a Bible, or she would get just some papers and try to read. Well, you know what she would do? Freddie, come here. And I'll run to her and I go to sit on the floor. She said, no, sit on the couch, because in this home, they treated me just like I was a what? Human being, not a pet. And as I sat there, she would begin to run to read. Well, as she began to read on this particular day, we were going over the ABC. A, B, C. All of a sudden we look, and it's Master R coming in, her husband. Sophia, I dare you to teach those big boys how to read. You teach them how to read, they're going to want to take over and come with the arrow. Don't never do that again. She responded by saying, but Hugh, I didn't know. Now you know. And then Master stepped before me. Quite naturally, my head went down quicker than what? The road runner. And he said, Freddie, you're not here to read. If I ever catch you reading again, you're going to be in trouble. You understand me? Yes, Master. I hate to read. I'm never going to read again. Reading is bad, Master. I'll never do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have you know that's what came out my mouth. But in my mind, he had opened Pandora's box. I was determined to get my hands on any and everything I can read. Just moving on, when I got to be the age of 16 years old, they moved me to the Master. Master Corvée, who was known as the slave breaker. He was known as the snake. Well, one day I got a pain in my side. And he said, Frederick, what's wrong? And I said, Master, I got a pain in my side. Well, don't you know he kicked me in my side. As he kicked me in my side, he began to whip me. I ran. And I ran into the woods, ran into a free slave, Mr. Ruffles. Mr. Ruffles invited me in and he took me out to the woods and he started digging. As he was digging, he came up with a rabbit foot. He said, Freddie, put this rabbit foot in your right pocket and I promise you he will not whip you again. I said, I don't believe in superstition. He said, okay, well don't believe, go back and get the whippings. I took that and I put it in my right pocket. And I went back to that plantation and I have you know, Master Corvée would not whip me. He would not whip me until Monday, the following Monday. When I was in the barn, cleaning the barn, and he came in with a whip. The whip lashed out and it tied around my ankle. I had the strength because I was big for my age. I leaned down and I released that. And I tied it around my wrist. And then I started pulling him towards me. And we went around for about an hour and a half. When it was all said and done, he stayed down, I got up. And later on, he would say, Freddie, don't have me come at you. And I would say, Master, you don't want no more of this. Keep it moving. Well, they moved me away. And just for the sake of time, in 1838, September the 3rd, after I had met my fiancée, she had sold her merchandise to help me to escape. I got on a train with my sailor suit, and sir, my fake ID. And when the conductor came, ticket, he asked for my ticket. He asked me where was I going. I said I was going back to Fort, and I showed him a fake ID. He said, okay, well, you sit here and be quiet. Next thing I know, I landed in New York 14 hours later. And when I got to New York, a free man, I had the opportunity to meet a gentleman by the name of Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson took me in. The next morning I got up, my wife Anna was sitting downstairs, and we discussed a new name for me. The new name was no other than Johnson, Frederick Johnson. I said, well, Mr. Johnson, thank you for the name, but too many Johnsons around. So I got to switch up on the name. Well, there was a play by the name of The Lady of the Lake. And there was a name called Douglas with one S. Moving on just for the sake of time. There were 3 men running for president of the United States. The first man I bring to the table, his name was Douglas. I liked him because of the same name. Come to find out, Douglas was for slavery, so I scratched him. The second man was Richardson. He was for slavery. And then there was a 6'4" young man out of Illinois. His name was no other than Abraham Lincoln. And I garnished a visit to the White House after he was elected. And he invited me into the Oval Office and he said, Mr. Douglas, how can I help you today? I said, sir, thank you first and foremost for allowing me to come and visit. I do have three things that's on my mind this morning. What are they, Mr. Douglas? Number 1, the freedom of my people. Number 2, the ability for black men to fight in the Civil War. How can you fight a war with one hand behind your back? You need both hands, the white hand and the black hand. And number 3, that all people in this country be able to vote. Amendment number 15. Well, Mr. Lincoln, he stood up and looked out the window, and when he turned around, he said, well, Mr. Douglas, I don't think that would be something that we can do right away. Well, it was discouraging. However, I wound up leaving the White House. And I'll have you know that on January 1st, 1863, while in Rochester, New York, where I lived on 1st Street, the word came. We saw him arrive on a horse. Hildy, 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 he said. And he unraveled his paper. And he said, from the President of these United States, Abraham Lincoln, it is read that on this day and time, January 1, 1863, all Negroes in this country are forever free. He read us what is known as the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all blacks in this country on January 1, 1863. I know my time is limited, but I will say this. I know you know that Barack Obama was the first black president of these United States. Well, I'll have you know that I, in 1854, got 1 vote for president of these United States. I have you know that in 1888, I got 1 vote for vice president of these United States. I have you know, though Barack was the first, I was the first black man to enter into the White House. And when I left that White House, I stood outside with my chest out. And I looked at the building and I turned back around and I said, wow, I feel big being the first black to enter into the White House. I moved on to become the first black president of a major bank, the Freeman National Bank. I moved on where I became the first black marshal of Washington, D.C. I moved on where for 2 years I was in Haiti, working with the president of Haiti until I resigned. And as time moved on, my wife Anna, she died in 1884 and it took a load out of me. But I want to look and I want to salute my good friend, Miss Harriet Tubman. Yes, Miss Harriet Tubman would visit my house in Anacostia, Washington, and she would give me the strength to rise again. I got remarried to Miss Helen Pitts. She was 20 years younger than I, and I will admit, she was white. I died. After speaking with a good friend of some of you all, Miss Susan B. Anthony. On February the 20th, 1895, at the age of 77, she helped me back in my courage. I made it back home, and as I was about to go up the stairwell, I had a major heart attack. On that day, I died. But I will let you know this. I was also the first black man to lay in state at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. upon my death. Kings, queens, presidents, and everybody from abroad and all your notables here in the country came to Washington, D.C. to say goodbye to me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't do anything, these children are our future. Assure that they read, they get the proper education. And if you have to, as I did, agitate, agitate, agitate. Don't push your children under a rug. They are human beings. They are our future. Thank you very much.
I'll